Salam alaikum, everybody. I hope all is well. Welcome to the very first interview of That Waqt. I am super excited for you guys to hear what Moulana has to say, his story, his inspirational journey, and how he talks about the importance of connecting with Allah. The unfortunate thing is, I have to sincerely apologize. There was a bit of a technical issue where the microphone that I speak into is not completely clear. But the thing is, I did not want to scrap this interview as Maulana, he took the time out to come here. He's a super busy guy. And I just feel like the content is amazing. Thus, I hope you guys can look past some of the audio quality issues and look into what Maulana has to say. It's amazing. We're going to have a good time. Please tune in. And inshallah, in the future, we're going to work on making sure none of these kind of technical issues happen. We're in the middle of a move. Don't want to make excuses. So we're kind of at different spots here. But inshallah, soon there'll be a set spot. We'll have more guests. I've got an amazing interview planned with a brother from the UK. So amazing things happening. But please, for this interview, again, sincerely apologize. Please look past the audio, and I hope you enjoy it. Keep us in your duas. Make sure you download the episode, subscribe on YouTube, share it, all the things that can help support this channel so we can make sure that we can spread the word of Allah and make sure that this kalma reaches the four corners of this world. And may Allah put barakah in this and talk soon, inshallah. Without further ado, let's see what Maulana had to say. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everybody. I hope all is well. Thank you for tuning in today to the very first interview for That Waqt. Today I'm here with a special guest, Imam Sheikh Moulana
Milkshake.
Bashir. Moulana, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, yourself. How's things? How's life?
Alhamdulillah. I just want to thank you so much for being here, taking the time out of
I
your
just need
busy
an excuse.
schedule.
I just need an excuse to ride my bike. That's all.
So
But
we
it's
don't
good.
know. Inshallah, we're gonna record it. But Maulana's got a wild bike.
Not wild. Humble bike.
Yeah,
Humble
like,
bike.
some people in Pakistan might think it's a 125. No,
Yeah.
a 1 to 30.
70cc bike.
We're talking about a crazy bike.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, Mona, thank you so much for being here today and spending time with us.
Alhamdulillah.
It's truly an honor because you're someone that I've been out in the path of Allah.
Yes, we have.
And we've had some good times.
Really good times.
Some good times.
Wow. So,
but Mona, I know you, but our viewers, some of them don't know who you are. So if you could tell us a little bit about yourself. Let's start with where you were born and raised, where you grew up, the young Moulana.
The young.
The young.
Well, we moved to Vancouver from Toronto when I was, like, vague recollection. So in grade 3, so 49th and Fraser, I believe it's called Sun something, right? Sunsets. So the recreational center there.
Yeah.
I forgot the school's name, and that's where I grew up until we moved to Surrey, right? Surrey back then, for everyone, I guess, whoever lived in Vancouver, like back then we only had Richmond, West 8, and then we had Surrey Jamia, right? These are all the masajid that we had. And then this is early 90s, late 90s. And then we moved to Surrey, right? That's when my parents decided. My father actually decided, okay, you know what, bigger community there. It wasn't big per se, but like people had started to shift to Surrey because the real estate was cheap, right? With Desis, wherever real estate is cheap, you go there. And then so Qari Abdul Wahab Sahab, the Imam there, because he's the senior Imam of our our province, and everybody just wanted to be around him in Surrey Masjid, around Surrey Masjid. So we moved there. It used to be called the White House. The house next to it was white, so we just called it the White House. And Qari Sahib used to live across Surrey Masjid in the Brown House. Khair, so that's where we moved. That's where I did my elementary school, Strawberry Hill. Right, and
Strawberry Hill.
Strawberry Hill, yes, yes. Yeah. I bet half of the Surrey went to Strawberry Hill.
I think it was
Like,
Vancouver guys maybe learned about Strawberry.
yes, Strawberry Hill, right? But my brothers, they went to John Oliver here, right?
Oh,
As that they were there, Mon Jangir and Baba Bhai, my sisters, all of them went there. But yeah, my dad decided to move there, and then yeah, moved to. Then I started growing up. I guess I got mature. We went to high school,
yeah.
right? And
Where'd you
that's
go to high school?
I don't even want to say the name. It's Princess Margaret, right?
That's,
Princess.
that's the high school that
that's
everyone
that's
else
PM, right?
Yeah,
Picking fights,
yeah,
right? Sometimes guys are getting called Unwin Park, Newton Park, Strawberry Hill, like
yeah.
wherever it is. Like there's basketball rivalry, like sports rivalry, and then there's actually like a racial rivalry, like because everyone's against Muslims now, all of a sudden, right? And then people calling all sort of stuff like, yeah, Taliban and terrorists and this and that. So you're going like, this is who you are. Like this gang life that you're being exposed to, and that's pulling you in, and then now you're facing with this. So we really didn't know where we want to be,
Yeah.
right? And then to save ourselves, like we were trying to hide our identity at that time. Like I remember my brother, like he used to chase us in high school to pray Salatul Dhuhr, right? We used to see him in the hallway, go the other hallway. Like we this guy with doping and beard, come on, man, high school ain't happening, man.
Shout out to him.
This guy's trying to pull us for ta'aleem. Okay, we gotta do halqa, like you gotta do some khatara and stuff like that. Okay, guys, we gotta go for Juma. He's talking to principal, principals. Okay, we're gonna give you guys a buzz, take kids. Like that was the first time actually in entire BC that a school was allowing the students to go for Juma. That's my brother. And then they actually gave us a bus, and that effort that he used to make, right? We used to run away. Like me, young brother, I used to run away from him. I was like, this guy's, I'm gonna lose all my friends. I'm not gonna be cool anymore. So that he gets full credit, right? He gets full credit for even like I went off track a little bit because of the crowd, because of the friends and peers that we had and everything. Now we don't want to be identified as Muslim because 9/11 had just happened and everybody's like scrutinized us, and then this lifestyle was like it gave you sense of belonging, right? It's like hey, you are a homie, this is gonna happen to you, like so there you get involved, right? Alhamdulillah, I've never done anything. Like I just want to say this on the record before BCMA fires me. Okay, so I got pulled into the wrong crowd, right? And then my friends and everyone, they're all playing. We all got pulled into the wrong crowd, and then there's fights and we're getting suspended, for doing stupid stuff, ridiculous stuff, and then yeah. So that was like it in terms of like how far I got in terms of my education at that point in my teenage life.
Did you play any sports?
Yeah,
Yeah.
basketball. Like I was in elementary basketball school team,
Yeah.
and then I tried out for grade 8 as well. I made it, and then the rule is that if you get suspended and stuff, that you get kicked out. That happened, right? So like that we minus that story out. So I got kicked out of high school, but I was there. So elementary, I was there. I used to play. Like I used to play crazy ball. Like anyone that knew me back then. Now I'm like a teddy bear. Like I can hardly move, right? I can't tie my own shoelace. But back then, yeah, I used to play ball all night, all the way. Like come on, we had Sharif Abdul Rahim was coming to Surrey Masjid. We had Mike Baby. It's like all of these guys were coming. We were influenced. And one used to come in town, Science World. It was a huge. They used to put on a huge show. So like yeah, right. And then 3-on-3, you make your teams and you go, right? So you're doing all sort of stuff. So that was like the culture back. Like hockey wasn't that big in late '90s. early 2000, it was all about basketball until this old Grizzlies. No, no one talks about basketball anymore. But khair.
At that point, maybe the Canucks got a little better too.
No, I'm not sure. Canucks, I'm not sure. Not gonna go down the right.
But then after high school, what did
So
you do?
after high school, though, in high school, my parents are getting tired of me at this point, right?
Yeah.
Like this guy is getting suspended. He's not what he used to be, and he's hanging around with the wrong crowd.
Yeah.
Getting to fights, getting rowdy, and my brother, right? That's where he comes in play, Manjangir. So he had spent some time path of Allah,
Yeah.
right? His is a little crazy story. He went.
Inshallah,
Uh,
Moulana Jahangir comes on
yeah,
the
he
street one
he
day,
can he can
inshallah.
he can explain his right. So this just a short of what the just an overview. Like we weren't religious. My family wasn't religious, right? My father has never been in path of Allah at that point,
Yeah.
right? He's not. We didn't come from like my half of my mom's side. Most of my mom's side is in England. Most of my dad's side is in Toronto, right? So we didn't come from like scholars or religious or Hafaz family. So Muaz Jahangir, when he came here, like someone took him in Khuruj, and I think it was Wali Bai and Dr. Aslam and these guys worked on him a little bit. And he went to California and he heard MTJ's band there, Montague Musa's band there, and that's when he changed his life. So this dude went in winter holidays, came back, and he's wearing kufi and he's wearing the Pakistani shalwar kameez. He's wearing a surman, the whole thing. Goes to John Oliver, grade 11, right? And then he's like, my brother was like, he knows how to keep a company, right? He's basically the center of attention when he's in a company around his friends, stuff like that. He puts on a good show, and all of a sudden this guy's changed, and everyone's like, "Who are you? Like, what happened to you? 10 days later, you're like a completely different person, right?" So he's like, "Whoa, like what happened to you?" So that was his episode. He changed and he came back and he told mom that, listen, I'm not gonna wear, this, patloon anymore. I'm not gonna wear, English clothes anymore. I'm gonna wear our Islamic clothes, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's what he said, and then that's when he went. He went with his turban and everything, and then like his shalwar above his ankles. And back then, you gotta understand. Now it's fashion, right? People understand. People are a lot more like. Politically correct when they're addressing you. Back then, no one did, right? So he faced all sort of bigotry, right? So when we moved to Surrey, actually, he was one of the main reasons my father moved to Surrey because he wanted to be close to West 8. Like you couldn't move close to West 8. It's almost in downtown. There's no way you can get a house close by, and you can't find parking there, let alone right, let alone a house. Yeah, yeah, parking. The West 8 is a different level. So Surrey was a good option. So my father moved there. So junkie. So I went off track. I was going off track. Grade 8, grade 9, grade 10, in grade 11. My brother's like, listen. He went to my parents and listen. I still remember this day. My house, blocked from Surrey Masjid. My brother's like, listen. He got very emotional because I'm the youngest, so I'm very attached to my parents, and I still am. So my parents are like, we're not gonna. He been telling. I didn't know this. He been telling him to send him to Pakistan, right? Let him do his. And I was like, I ain't going nowhere, bro. What are you talking about? I mean, man, I got plans, right? I want to make it to NBA. Like, I don't care what are you talking about, right? I want to join this league. I'm going to join that league. I started taking courses. I'm middle grade 11, right? And now I'm like, I'm going to figure out what uni I'm going to go to, right? It's like my whole mindset is a completely different wavelength. Yeah, Allah, oh, that hurt. Okay, complete different wavelength, and he's telling me to do his right, and I haven't done his before that, right? We used to go evening classes, even then. Zafar Sab, may Allah bless him, man. He used to just keep us there for the sake of environment, right? These kids come, like we hardly used to go, but he used to just give us a lot of love, attention, and so we stay in a good environment. This guy's like talking about all this stuff. My parents like, no way, right? We're not sending him. I don't know what happened, right? So I saw my brother walk out of the house crying, and I was like, why is he crying?
Yeah.
Right? I was like, why is Bai crying? Abuji, why is Bai crying? He's like, he wants you to take you hibs, and then we said no, and then I was like, so like he's crying because like my hips. I was like, yeah, he wants to take you to Pakistan. I was like, how hard is it?
Yeah.
I kind of felt bad, right? I was like, why is he crying? Why is dude crying? Like, wow, you grown up man. You're gonna. He's 19 years old. He's crying, walking out of the house, right? So, and then and I could hear the argument, the back and forth, right? So I was like, you know what? Why don't you let me go? Let me give it a shot. Let me give it a shot.
Yeah.
So my parents, are you sure? I was like, yeah, like, let's just give it a shot, right? If it works out, my parents like, you, it's never gonna work out. Last time you were in Pakistan when you were like 5 years old. Now you're gonna go back like I was at 16 years old. And my father's like, you won't last there. Like, you don't even know what to do. You don't even know how to talk to people there, right? And plus, none of us is there. It's just going to be you and your brother, right? And then I was like, you know what? If I go Pakistan, I'm going to go Karachi.
Yeah.
Because my cousins live there. So I was like, I want to go there, right? And then my brother did some mashwara and, consulting all the ulama and all that kind of stuff. They told them, they took me to Raivan, right? So I landed in Lahore airport. I think Islamabad airport. Islamabad, they took a train to Lahore. And from Lahore, we go to this hotel close to the train station, Bismillah Hotel. Right, we get to eat some food there. And I look at the oil. I'm like, hell no, I ain't eating that stuff. Right, like there's no way. There's no way. I still remember that stuff. Now I love that stuff. Right, but back then I was like, no, it's not happening. And then they trying to take me. They took me to Minar Pakistan here and there. They're trying to show me stuff. I was like, dude, like, okay, you know what? Like, I came from Vancouver, man. Like, so he they took me to Raivan, and I met Moulana Sheryar al-Haq. Okay, so he's a I love him to bits, and he gave me dates. He's like, "Abhi khajur khao, baad mein dande khana." I looked at my brother. I was like, "There's no way I'm studying in this place." Yeah, no way. So they took yeah, exactly. So they took me to Karachi, and then they spent a few months, and then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna just do hivs. I think I did about 9 juz. I was like, it's time to go home. I had enough. It's been a year. It was hectic. Pakistan crazy. I'm gonna go back. So then there's a whole thing. You started hivs, and everybody's like. Then I came back. I got a job, and then I lost my track for another year and a half, stuff like that. Then I went back again. Wait, I don't know. Went back again, and that's it. I was done now. I did my hivs. Now I'm done. I'm ready to come back. I'm go to uni, get a job, do this, do that. And my brother's like, you got to do alim course, right? I was like, I didn't sign up for that. I did hivs, right? That's enough, right? That's it, right? And then this incident took place, right? I'm not sure how much of it I can share. So this incident took place where like three of my friends got shot, right? My his friends. This is in Islamabad actually. Islamabad actually, right? And those guys were making effort in Islamabad, and they're trying to make effort on uni kids, right? And then those guys won't take them seriously, and then some like I'm gonna minus that part. Something happened, and they got shot basically for no reason, not their fault, nothing to do with no animosity, no nothing. They just got shot for no like very very dumb reasons, right? If I say it's politically incorrect right now, so I can't say. So that's like it struck a chord with me. I was like, you know, life's short, man. Like, I gotta wake up someday. And then we always talked about, making impact in the world. We always talked about that. And you can't make an impact if you're not a scholar, right? I understood that. If you're not an alim, you can't make an impact. Like this is me thinking, when I was 19 years old, right? Okay, so I was like, okay, khalas, where do I start? Like, how do I do this? So that's when I went into Madressa line, right? That's when I went to become an alim. And then my brother chucked me in some village, like a no man's land. He's like, you gotta hack it here. I was like, this village, it doesn't have coke, right? It's like, so I studied there for 3 years, right? And that's where I was like, okay, you know what? I learned Urdu. I didn't know Urdu, so because my mother At home, we don't speak Urdu, right? We speak Hindi. That's the language that we speak, and that's the only language I knew when I went. But I knew like whatever my parents spoke with me, I understood. So, reply back in English, but I understood Hindi. Urdu was far fetched. I didn't know Urdu, so they taught me Urdu, and then they're like, "Okay, what do you want to do?" I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna learn Arabic now." So they taught me Arabic, and then like the crazy part was like learning Arabic, guys who are speaking Urdu, and I don't understand Urdu. So I was just going cuckoo for the first year. I was like, how do I learn a language in which these guys speaking Urdu with me, all right? And then I don't understand. Forget like even the bits of that I understood over time, over a couple of months, I started understanding what these guys were saying. I didn't know the grammar, like the grammar. I was like, okay, fail file maful. I was like, what fail file maful, man? Like somebody explained this to me in English first, right? It's not like I was like a, 90s student in school, like whatever. Somebody explained the grammar to me first, right? So it was a little crazy. Everyone was trying to help me out whatever way they can. And alhamdulillah, and then second year, third year, then my story. Then I got very serious in life now where I'm like I'm pursuing another degree and I'm currently studying Kotlin, right? So this is basically like a very very small version of how I came on Deen, how I came to study my alim class and my hifz.
And now you're studying to become a certified teacher, right?
Yeah, high school teacher, KG to grade 12, right? So basically, when I came back, and Mufti Asim, like he's had a great influence in my life as well, and I studied with him for a couple of years here before he shifted me, sent me off to UK and studied there for 2 years, and then he decided I could go for 1 year. I went for 1 year Pakistan, and then I came back, and then I wanted to be a graphic designer, and as a side hustle, I just wanted to do like become, teach ultimately teach, and I started teaching. He hired me in his institute. I started teaching right there, and then I pursued my graphic designing degree. And then we realized that okay, graphic design degree is going to help me, right? How can I help people? I need that we didn't study 9 years, so we can just live, do whatever we want to do. So what the biggest need of that time was that hey, we need to open up a Muslim high school, right? So how do we open up a Muslim high school? Looking together, like, okay, you need this qualification, that qualification. I was like, we told them we have masters in Islamic studies. Can you guys accept it? They said, no, we're not going to accept it. Contacted UBC, we can do a PhD. And the prof that was supposed to do it, he had retired, right? So they're like, we can't do it. So we're like, okay, whatever. Like, so we started. I left in grade 11 and came back and started from there again, right? That's when I started my studies again. I just gave exams. My grade 12 was done, first year uni. Now I'm done. So moving on. Now I'm last year, December, inshallah, I'm going to graduate. Then I'm going to apply for the PDP program. This is me and Mufti Taha both. We're doing the same thing. And Muasama Raja, I think he's doing it too. So there's a whole bunch of us, ulama scholars, decided that okay, we need to do this, build a Muslim high school in BC. You and I were just talking about it, right? So you're gonna make a move pretty soon too. So we're basically that's what it is. So hopefully we'll be able to establish that for our children and the people at large in our community, inshallah.
So Mona, with this podcast, we really look into people's stories from when they've gone out into the path of Allah. For you, when someone says going out into the path of Allah, what does that mean?
Go on the path of Allah, like let's understand this from this ayah. Right? وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. When someone strives for the sake of Allah and makes an effort to come closer to Allah, right? Allah guides that person, right? So for me, that moment was when going to Pakistan, right? But then a lot of incidents took place where my friends got shot and all that kind of stuff. That's when he decided, okay, I gotta turn my life. I gotta switch my life. I can't live this life anymore. I gotta be different, right? And other incidents along the way, they also take place to encourage you. There are, because everything around us is a constant reminder of who Allah is, right? So anything that we see, perceive, feel, it's all reminding who Allah is, right? So if whatever brings you back to Allah, that's the path of Allah. Whatever brings you back, whether it's in the form of 40 days, 4 months, whether it's in the form of like whatever whatever it is that you're doing, it connects you to ultimately it should connect you to Allah, and that's the path of Allah, right? That's why we say in Surah Fatih too. Idina sirat al-mustaqim, right? We want the path, the guided path, right? The path of those that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon, not the path of those who've gone astray.
So you did a year in the path.
Yeah, I did 1 year in Khuruj, right? So that was a little hectic, but yeah, I did 1 year in Khuruj. 1 year, there's tons of stories. There's tons of stories. One story that I want to highlight, okay? I'm not sure how people react to this, accept this, but this is it's a personal story. I witnessed this, so I'm gonna share it. Right, people can comment on it however they like. So we were sent to do the effort of da'wah in northern areas of Pakistan, right? And this is in Sawat, right, Kalam, Basham, and those areas. And this is middle. So first they sent me to Sindh. Okay, Sindh is extremely hot, like 45 degrees. Like I'm dying there, right? I come back, and then they send me to Ryburn. They send me to northern areas. Right, we send you a hot place. We're gonna send you a cold place because you're from Canada. I was like, listen, the part of Canada I'm from, we can't take cold and we can't take heat. Vancouver, we can take rain, but we can't take anything else, right? So I can't do any. They're like, what kind of Canadian are you? I'm like, I'm a fake Canadian. I'm a Pakistani, right? They're like, you're not, because you seriously can't take. I was like, I don't know. Like, so they're like, okay, we're gonna send you up north. My health was deteriorating. They're like, you're gonna feel better. A little bit of recovery time. So that was the recovery time for me. And then they in the markaz there in Sawat, they sent us to like extreme village up in the mountains, right? And they're like, yeah, it's just there. It's just there, just behind that mountain. Bro, like we have to climb half a mountain. We're hiking up the mountain, right? Yeah. I was like, listen to me yourself. The whole Jamaat, I kid you not, the whole Jamaat, right, is there. They left after Fajr, right? And they made it by Ishraq time. I made it by Dhuhr, right? I was like, I can't. This is not. I wasn't fat then. Like I wasn't like obese or anything like that.
You were in basketball shape.
I wasn't in basketball shape. That's what even then, man. Like, come on, like tell somebody to do the grouse grind, right? It's not gonna happen, right? You gotta it's a different ball game, right? And then and then this was like so their masjids were like mountain to mountain, right? And everyone knows now this guy's gonna make it in Dhuhr. They never used to give me any amal in Dhuhr, right? It's like, and we did full 35 days like this, full 35 days, right? And then the water, the from the falls and stuff like that, and the spring that are coming down, it's extremely cold. The glacier, they're melting, and that's the water that coming down, right? I couldn't perform wudu. I couldn't take a bath. I couldn't take anything. And then whenever evening time came, it used to get very, very cold up there in the mountain. I wasn't prepared at all. Like, come on, it's like July. They're sending me, so how bad can it get, right? I did not know, right? And then no jacket, no nothing. So now I told Amir, I said, listen, Amir, I'm not performing wudu with cold water now anymore. It's Friday and I got to take a bath tomorrow. It's been like 5 days. I can't take this anymore, right? They're like, look, we have like this propane tank, or not CNG or whatever that tank, whatever they use, the gas they use there, right? So they call it sweet gas, right? Something, I don't know. It's one of those. So I finished all of it. I like the water was so cold. Like we put him in the pot. It was like 3.2 kg or something like that. The tank finished. And we sounds like, yo, the bazaar is all the way down there, right? You finished. What are we gonna cook food with? Everyone is ticked at me in Jamaat. Every single brother is like, yo, you're so messed up. I was like, man, like, what do you want me to do? I feel sorry for you guys, but like I had to shower. Yeah, man. So this is, and then those people, they had a lot of patience with me, a lot of. Now, what's crazy in all of this, and I still remember till today, this is 2016, okay? What's crazy that we had one person who was a handicap, all right? So now he used to walk with one hand on this brother's shoulder, other hand, and he used to, one leg. This guy was going up the mountain like no tomorrow. But the struggle, the pain that he used to go through at night, right? Because his leg was hurting and he's putting so much pressure on it and so on and so forth. And then he just used to scream out of pain. I was like, I got Tylenol, Advil. If this helps you, man, like, come on, like. But it didn't, like, and he used to suffer a lot. Then eventually he stopped. He stopped making, stopped, complaining altogether. And I was like, are you okay? Like, what happened? Is everything okay? Right? I know, like, cold water, like, but you're actually struggling a lot. Like, why do you even come here? He's like, no, I love being here and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, what happened? He didn't tell me. Now I'm more curious. I'm like, what happened? You're complaining and you're screaming and yelling. Now you're not saying anything. Yeah. So he's like, the complete change. I was like, what happened, dude? Like, come on. He's like, no. Mori Sab. No. So last day, I remember this. Last day, Fajr time. So Amir Sab called everyone, right? Amir Sab said, come. I was like, oh, okay, what happened, right? So he's like, we did our normal mashwara and everything, but he just felt so serious. So he goes, last night, bunch of brothers, everyone but me, okay, bunch of brothers. So they saw Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in the dream. And this person who was struggling, walking, and he's handicapped, right? And because of so much pain and agony, ever since he saw Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he stopped complaining. Right. So I was like, how is it that everyone can see, has seen Prophet Sallallahu I'm bro, like what happened? Like I'm part of you guys, right? Is it the cold water? I was like, okay, man. So that really, really, changed my perspective on things. It's like, people like struggle is real, but then, sometimes Allah consoles you in a way that you can't really, see, right? So struggle, like if you man sabara hasala ala kulli shay, whoever practice patience, that he basically attains everything. And Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, "As-sabru inda sadmatil ula," right? So when you're inflicted with something, that's when you're supposed to practice patience. So if you just, keep it yourself and not complain to people, and then put your problems to Allah, Allah will help you. Allah will guide you. So that's like just one incident, my entire thingy, like where people, and then there are other incidents where I found out later on. Actually, I'm not going to say that one, but this was for another time. But this was like a pretty common, basically, I shouldn't say practice, but pretty common occurrence for a lot of people, right? And I was like, man, like when are like we gotta, like, what is it that you guys do that we're not doing? Like what is it, right? You're able to see Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. You're able to, like we're dying to, like, we want to see Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. That's the ultimate goal, right? And then they used to tell me just, do not miss any sunnah. Do not miss any sunnah. Do not miss any sunnah. And you'll be able to witness it one day. So ever since then, I've been practicing, trying. Well, hopefully we'll get there one day, inshallah. Yeah. So that khuruj is, I still remember it. I want to go back one day.
Was that all in Pakistan?
So no, we went in Bangladesh, and we were trying to get a visa for India. We didn't get it, and we spent most of our time in Pakistan as well. We spent some time in Sri Lanka, some in Bangladesh, and some. Bangladesh has crazy stories too, but Pakistan, these are like more spiritual stories. Off the record, it's very crazy stuff.
But we want to hear it. Off the record time.
Yeah. No, your podcast, people be like, scaring our kids. We're not gonna play these anymore. But there's no such thing as crazy, right? People think, oh, that's awesome, that's crazy story, that's dope, this, that, yo, that's lit. No, like, more sacrifice you make, the more struggle that you go through, the bigger return you get from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? That's how it is. The small sacrifice you make, the small return. Big sacrifice means big investment. When you make a big investment, you get a bigger return from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
So we're coming to an end here. Moulana, thank you so much for your time.
No problem. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
Amazing. But we're going to end it off with basically asking you a few questions. And that is, you've been out in the path of Allah to a few countries, right? You've been in Pakistan and Canada, within Canada. States,
Yeah, all over Canada.
What's your dream destination and why? In going out in the
path of Allah.
Yeah. And it could be someplace you've gone already. That's fine. But what's your dream destination?
I'm not sure if I want to phrase like a dream destination. What I actually enjoyed, and I actually want to do this again, right? It's not a destination; it's the process. So when you go out for 1 year in Khuruj, they make you there's a checklist that they have. You kind of have to fulfill that checklist, and one of the items on that checklist is that you got to do walk in Jamaat. So walk in Jamaat means no transportation. Well, you take transportation, you just to get to that city or village, and that's it. That's like they kind of dump you there, and then rest is walking, right? So masjid to masjid, area to area, you're constantly walking for 40 days, right? And Pedal Jamaat, that's what they call it, right? I would love to do that again. It's one of the hardest things that I did in my life, but I actually, apart from, I burned a lot of calories, that's for sure, but there's so like, it's very close to the prophetic, method in terms of like, propagating the message. He walked everywhere. I mean, he used his camel and horse too, but primarily he walked and knocked doors and stuff like that. So it's very close to that. Secondly, because like when you're walking and you walk like a kilometer to someone's house, they send you in a remote area, like everyone lives far away, or the village or the town next to it, like they're pretty far, pretty distant. But one guy there didn't know what year we're in. I looked at him. So the guy was like a farmer, and they lived in just a remote area. I was like, how do you not know what year we're in, right? And he spoke Sindhi. He didn't know what I was asking. I didn't know what he was saying. I was like, okay, whatever, man. Like, and there's just it's a village, like ultra village life. They're far away from it. And then I said, listen, come to the masjid with me, right? And then we had a hard time communicating. I said, masjid, 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 masjid. He's like, okay, let's go. And then middle of the night, right? We told him to stay with us, spend the night with us. This guy lights one, right? He's smoking right in the masjid. I get up. I was like, what's going on here, right? Someone's smoking in the masjid. And this guy's like, yeah, I saw him. Like, he's sitting by the window and he's hacking one nicely. So then we started like, we got a translator. We're like, we started helping the guy out. Like, can't do this in the masjid, blah, blah, blah. And then, he spent a few days with us and he went back. Like, he was very happy to spend time. And he was, 69 years old. And he said, this is his first time I actually prayed in 69 years, right? So may Allah reward you guys, right? So I was like, dude, you're in Pakistan. You're in Sindh, right? You're like one of the provinces of Pakistan, and it's pretty much exposed to all sort of deen. But you think so, but reality is people are not, right? Even in a Muslim country, this guy and they're so like and they have distanced themselves from dunya. They don't know calendar, time, no nothing. They just have their own daily routines that they follow, right? And one person goes to the city, it's about 300 kilometers away to purchase whatever people need, and that's it, right? And they have their own food. They grow everything there. They live a very, very, very healthy people, very organic lifestyle, and then they're very, very, very nice people, humble people, because they don't have any biases against you, right? So it's kind of nice. I felt very spiritual, right, amongst these people. I was like, I was able to connect with them, and I was able to benefit a lot, even though like they're torn masajids, broken masajids, like a small little place, small little room where everyone's coming together. We kind of clean it every time we go, but it just felt so nice, making a very, very different type of effort, and I'd love to do it again. I'm not sure if I can, but I'd love to do it again. It doesn't matter. Honestly, it doesn't matter wherever it is in the world. I want to do it. I want to do Bedul Jamaat.
Yeah.
I want to spend mocking Jamaat. It's just the best. It's just gives you a totally different spiritual level. Yeah. Yeah.
So Moulana, there's a Jamaat of 7 people
Okay.
going out in the path of Allah. Okay.
Okay.
You're one of them. So
Okay.
that leaves 6.
Okay.
Select 3 people in your locality
Uh-huh.
you would take with you, and 3 people that are well known. So it could be celebrities, athletes, influencers, whoever. 3 people from your locality.
3 people from our locality.
And
It could be scholars or anyone. Okay. And then?
And 3 well-known people. So that could be a celebrity, it could be an athlete.
Yeah, I ain't naming no celebrity. I'm gonna get kicked out. People are gonna start praying Juma behind me, right?
Whoever you want, that you would want.
Locally, right now, immediately my 2 friends. Right, this is Moulana Ali, he's an Imam at White Rock, and then Mufti Taha, he's Al Lisan Institute. He basically administration there, head admin there. I want to take these 2 fellows. They're my friends. Grew up, and Mufti Taha I didn't grow up with, but he moved here in Montreal in 2009, and then I've been friends with him since then. Moulana Ali, I grew up with him. Right, he also studied in Pakistan, and then in Hasnain. So he was in city, I'm in the village. So I was in the village. That's where I was. So these 2 people I want to take, and third would be he is gone to Toronto. He moved to Toronto now. Ali Hufiani. I want to take him. Right. I want to take him. Yeah. Take these 3. You said 3, right? These 3. Safe. 4. Okay. 3 more. 3 more outside people. They gotta be from BC, Vancouver, anywhere in the world. Wow.
Okay, let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
3 Muslim.
Okay, 3 Muslim. I want to take Habib. Okay, I don't know him much. Mufti Miftah Institute. These guys know him very well. I don't know much. I'd love to go and Jamaat with him. Habib's there, and who else amongst the Muslims? I'm just kind of blanking on the names. So Habib. Okay, and then Muhammad Salah, right, from Liverpool. I want to take him as well. He's a very, very good person. And then this cricketer, man, from South Africa, Hashim Amla? Hashim.
I don't know.
Okay. No, I really like him. You got to see him, right? I'll take him. These 3 people. I think 3 enough. These 3 guys would be a very good. Yeah, very good combo. So you have basketball, soccer, and cricket.
All right, Moulana, the last thing is, as we wrap it up, a message you want to leave to the viewers.
Ultimately, whatever we discussed was the message, right? I mean, the purpose of your podcast, the purpose of me coming here is not really to, share these crazy stories or the purpose is that, hey, Allah's doors are always open, right? So I might have turned my life around. You have turned your life around. There are many people out there that have turned their life around, right? Just because something had happened, that's why they turned their life. It didn't. You don't need a reason to turn your life around, right? The only reason we all should have is that we need to turn to Allah. Bottom line, we need to connect ourselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It doesn't matter. So we can do it in baby steps, right? It doesn't have to be. You don't have to do big commitments, man. You don't have to make long commitments. So yeah, connect to Allah. That's all, right? Just run to Allah. Allah will run towards you, right? I mean, His rahmah. Whatever you do, Allah will do in double folds, right? If you walk towards Allah, Allah's rahmah will run towards you, right? So whatever you do, Allah will double folds. So never become despondent of what's going on in your life. Don't lose hope in Allah. You're not allowed to lose hope. That's it. That's period. Don't lose hope, no matter what happens. It's okay if you went to financial, struggle. It's okay. You suffer from that. That's okay. Okay, we'll move on. You'll get another opportunity. You lost his job. It's not the end of the world. You'll get another one. Because you will, right? You lost your loved one. Yes, you lost your loved one, but they went to a better place. They went to Jannah, right? So you have other ones that love you, right? So appreciate those people that you have around you. So death, loss, struggles, they're part of life. It happens to you. You got to have strong willpower and strong connection with Allah to get you through it. And you got to have that connection with Allah, right? Allah will get you through it. That's it. Don't give up on your life just because tides are high. They they're gonna come to hit the shore, and then everything will settle. That's it. You just gotta hold on, hold your ground in that tide, hold your ground when that wave hits you, right?
On that, thank you for your time.
Okay,
It's been
inshallah.
amazing.
Inshallah. Jazakallah khair.
Keep us in your du'as.
Inshallah.
And
Inshallah.
hopefully